Hey, baby, this is Rich Swann, and you're on the Wrestling Epicenter.
You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
So what you gonna do?
Let me talk to you, dummies.
Oh, yeah.
You're where it's at.
If you're smart like me, you gotta listen.
And if you don't listen to it,
I'll come out of your computer and body slam your ass.
Don't be a Melvin.
I will scar you.
open your third eye.
Woo! It's gonna be cool.
Oh, what a rush.
It's showtime!
We had a lovely conversation.
To the interactive interview. Interactive Wrestling Radio.
The Epicenter.
All night long. Oh, hey guys. Didn't know you were there. Welcome to another edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. Of course I knew you were there. I'm just doing a little bit of a silly intro for our guest this week, a gentleman who has revitalized his own career and has created a buzz about Impact Wrestling that I've not seen in recent times. Really excited to have on this week's episode of Interactive Wrestling Radio for an exclusive interview, the one and only Rich Swann. Man, this guy is one hell of an athlete. We build off of what we talked about on the Impact Wrestling conference call a couple weeks ago and take it a few steps further, and also talk a little bit about what he's also doing in wrestling, including MLW and beyond. But of course, the focus is on Impact Wrestling, where he will be taking part in Slammiversary just 1 week from this Sunday night on pay-per-view television. He will be taking on Ishimori, Phoenix, and the returning Johnny Impact in a four-way that's going to be out of this world. International four-way action between some of the best athletes on God's green earth. I don't normally do this, guys, but I wanted to do a little bit of a soliloquy here. Rich Swann is a high flyer, and on Saturday night we saw a gentleman who is also a high flyer get injured, and it's resulted in a lot of people offering their take on what's next for wrestling. As I mentioned in the interview here with Rich Swann in just a few moments, I'm a big fan of classic wrestling. I love me the wrestling. I love gritty barroom fighting, storytelling, dirty wrestling from the territory days. The kind of stuff that they make fun of with Southpaw Championship, which, by the way, I've never laughed at. I know a lot of people might not like the fact that I'm saying that, but that's the stuff I love. And yes, I'm a New Jersey guy. You can hear I'm getting angry because my accent's coming out. But I grew up on the Southern Wrestling, and that's not really what Southern Wrestling was. It wasn't really as much high flying. What you're seeing now is the wrestling industry has taken to a more acrobatic style, and unfortunately the casualty of that is you're going to see some injuries. Takahashi broke his neck, it would appear, at the G1 special from the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Man, this guy was potentially the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. In fact, our interview with Lance Hoyt from just a few years ago, he put him over as the best talent on the entire New Japan roster. And he's a pretty talented guy himself, Lance Hoyt, so I think that his opinion should hold some water. First of all, of course, we hope that he's able to return to the ring. I'm not going to say that he can't, but what does this mean for wrestling? Of course, Jim Cornette weighed in. Jim Cornette always weighs in whenever anything bad happens that supports his theories, but he offered his opinion, and he basically said, what's next? What can you guys do next? And how does one draw the line in the sand to say, okay, we're willing to go this far, but not any further? Because the natural progression of everything, not to quote Sami Callihan, is to take that next step, to push that envelope, to do the next thing. So you can't say, well, we're going to do this, but we can't do that, because somebody will always be willing to do that. Take it from me. I'm a guy who, doing the backyard wrestling stupidity, did severely damage his neck. In fact, I still feel the pain whenever it rains out, and I still don't have full motion in my neck. I'm upright. I'm on my feet. I'm not crippled or anything like that. Thank God for that, by the way. But I've done the stupid stuff. I've hurt myself, And I don't love seeing these talented guys that are way more talented than I ever was, getting in there and hurting themselves. So anyway, if you're out there and listening, be safe, be smart, and don't hurt yourself. With that said, we're going to get to a guy who pushes that envelope, pushes that thing all the time. Incredible talent. One of the most freakish athletes I've ever seen in the world of professional wrestling, Rich Swann. So glad to bring him here on Wrestling Epicenter and Interactive Wrestling Radio. Be sure and check him out this Thursday on Pop TV, and of course, Sunday night on Slammiversary on the 22nd of July. Here we go. It's Rich Swann, exclusively on the Wrestling Epicenter.
Hey guys, this is Taylor Hendricks, and you are listening to Wrestling Epicenter. Check it out.
It's Vader time.
It was Vader time in 2009 when the Wrestling Epicenter welcomed Big Van Vader to our show.
Yeah, he did. He picked it ear up off the ring and carried it to the back where I believe Chuck was fully with it. But they never reattached it. That he has that long hair, so you don't really see it. But they never reattached the ear, so it looks pretty ugly.
This sensational interview is available in our extensive archives at interactivewrestlingradio.com and wrestlingepicenter.com.
Hey guys, this is Jay Lethal, the greatest first-generation wrestler, and you're listening to Interactive Radio.
Welcome back to Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. On the Newsmaker line with me is a very busy guy right now. Very busy indeed. He is one of the newest guys to debut for Impact Wrestling all night long. Rich Swann is on the line with us. Are you with me, Mr. Swann?
Oh, how are you doing? I'm always here.
It's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you
all
for
right,
having me.
so you're welcome. You've been on Impact Wrestling just a couple of times now, but how has your time been thus far in your short time in Impact Wrestling?
You know, my time in Impact Wrestling has been amazing. I've had some two good matches, two great opponents that have been on TV already. First was Trevor Lee, and I couldn't ask for a better opponent to be in the ring with to showcase my styles and, you know, for us to get up in there and mix it in. And then the next, which was last week, was me versus Phoenix. And I tell you, man, like, to have a match like that on TV now is just great. Like, it was a good feeling, and Impact gave me that chance, and they gave me that opportunity. And, you know, the match that's about to come up this week, me, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. versus OVE, that's going to do something to the wrestling world. That's going to set the world on fire. And just working for Impact now is just great.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Phoenix. You're going to be actually facing Phoenix. I know you're teaming with them on Thursday, but you're facing Phoenix, Ishimori, and Johnny Impact at Slammiversary. What can we expect to see from that match?
You know what? The thing is, it's going to be the unexpectable. There's going to be things that I can't even say that I'm going to do because, like, that match it's 4-star set of guys, and anything can happen. And we're going out there, and we're going to, you know, put on what we do best. And, like, we're going to be going out there and to be, like, trying to put ourselves in contention for either the X Division Championship or the Impact Championship. And, like, let's face it, that's a crazy match right there. And it's being said that it may steal the show at Slammiversary, and that's going to be no short of our goal.
I'll tell you what, I think you've been stealing the show, and I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing you. I think you've been stealing the show on Impact if for nothing else, then the way that the crowd is reacting to you. You are red hot with that audience. They are into you from the second you go through that curtain. And we did a teleconference with you. In fact, I asked probably the toughest question of the teleconference just a few weeks ago. So that got posted all over the internet. Are you surprised by just how incredibly warm the welcome has been at Impact Wrestling for you?
I'm very surprised. Honestly, when I had made my return to independent wrestling, a lot of people, they didn't take too kindly to having me on the shows. And but I think once I finally was able to, show my talents and, people, they gave me, for the lack of a better term, a second chance. And, and I'm taking that second chance and rolling with it. I'm not going to let anybody stop me, no matter what they say and no matter what they do. And the people that have jumped on board with me, I always greatly say it. I greatly appreciate their support. And to have, the Impact crowd be behind me so much, and knowing that, I've grown up with these people, with these fans, you know what I'm saying? Wrestling has been with me since I was 16, 15 years old, you know what I'm saying? And, these people, they see that, and I grew up with them in their eyes. And, for them to give me reactions like that, it means the world,
Absolutely. And I kind of mentioned the conference call because there was a question I wanted to kind of chime back in with after you mentioned it. They asked you about your influences, and ever since you said that, been watching your matches, I'm like, okay, I could see Bret Hart, I can see Rob Van Dam. You mentioned a guy that brought a smile to my face, though, when you said it, and you didn't explain it that much. It was Iceman King Parsons. You said he was one of your influences. How did the Iceman influence you?
Man, if you go back and look at how he talks in his promos, if you go back and look at how he has his hair shaved and everything like that, and, last week, or what was it, 2 weeks ago on that teleconference, a lot of people, they misconstrued what I said about, I shaved my head and, for a tribute for Minoru Suzuki and Shingo. Well, they actually just gave me an idea, but, the reason why I did that like that is because guys like Iceman King Parsons, they got these stupid haircuts, right? And then their people are talking about him, they're looking at him, and then he goes out there, and then he's infectious. He's talking on that camera, to the wide audience, and you're not even thinking about his hair. He's out there, he's wrestling, you know what I'm saying? And for that time, he was doing some pretty cool stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they were mesmerized. And look at how he looks, you know what I'm saying? You're not expecting that. And so that's why I went out. I cut my hair so stupid, the way it's shaved all the way back and then has all those crazy designs in it, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing people talking about. Oh, look at his hair. Oh, it's stupid. He looks like this. He looks like that. But guess what? People are talking,
Excellent. I appreciate that. And as an old school fan, when you said that, it brought a smile to my face. So that really kind of won me over. Not that I needed to be won over, but.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So something happened on Friday night with another high flyer, incredible athlete, Takahashi. I wanted to ask you, do you ever have fears that what happened to Takahashi at the G1 special could ever happen to you with your high-risk style?
Of course I do. I think that goes through the mind of, not always, because if you let it consume you and you let it, hit your mind, then it is going to happen. But at least every wrestler, for a split second, that goes through their mind. Oh man, what if I get hurt doing this? You know what I'm saying? It really, and I just found out about Takahashi. What's it, his neck? He fractured his neck. And I don't know how it happened. Prayers go out to him. He's on a hot roll right now, and for something like that to happen, that really sucks. My feels on it is just, it's hard to rewind, you know what I'm saying, in this industry, because we've given these people so much of our bodies that they're expecting it, and it's hard to up the ante. And, you kind of want to say, man, enough is enough. You know, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? You kind of got to go out there. You kind of got to go out there and give it your all 100%, do nutty things, or let's face it, the crowd, you know what I'm saying, the wrestling fans in this industry of today, they're not going to, for the lack of a better term, think you're over, or they're going to look at you in a certain light. You're not going to be held in a certain light or looked at as one of those best wrestlers in the world, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. So we were a little bit late getting started, and part of that is because you're actually doing stuff for MLW right now. I know Impact Wrestling set up the interview, but it's a really interesting and different time for wrestling, to where I could see you on Thursday night on Pop TV, and then I could see you on Friday night on beIN Sports for MLW. What do you think of this crazy time in wrestling where so many guys can appear on so many different shows?
Man, I think it does nothing but wonders for this business, for this industry, to see some of the top stars wrestling at Impact, wrestling at Lucha Underground at the same, wrestling at MLW at the same time. And the thing that's so great about it is, yes, just like you said, it is broadcasted to a national audience. And, you know, though nobody, you know, and I might get shot in the foot for saying this, though nobody is, you know, ever going to be or get to the, you know what I'm saying, level that WWE is, you know what I'm saying, like the juggernaut that they've built themselves to be. But it definitely gives people an alternative, like back in the day, to watch an MLW, and then to see all these guys on this, you know what I'm saying, it does nothing but help. It helps the wrestler, it helps the brands, it helps everybody, you know.
Absolutely. So back to Impact, there is Johnny Impact. Johnny Impact is married to Taya. They have nothing to do with each other on TV. Yourself and your wife, completely different characters. You're a happy-go-lucky kind of dancing when you come out, and she is the complete gothic character that she is. Ever think that you guys might cross paths on Impact Wrestling television?
You know, that's definitely been something that has always been on my mind. That's something that, you know, we have, you know, planned for together. You never know what could happen. You never know if she might step out of the dark side and become happy, or you never know, I might snap and join the dark side. But hey, man, that would definitely be interesting to see, and to see how people would perceive me and Su Yung together. And you never know, it could happen.
Awesome. Well, your style is tailor-made for the X Division. You're tailor-made